Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder, to a tank realistic replay in the Kopfsteier Waffenträger, played for our pleasure today by Borghoff. And as you can see, this tank has a long gun. Battle rating 5.7, German tank destroyer, and we will see how Borghoff will just honor that name, tank destroyer, in today's battle. We also can see that he has taken 30 rounds of ammunition into battle. That's the maximum ammunition amount, but it's only the standard armor-piercing shell, the APCBC, or otherwise known as the Panzergranate 3943. And why should you ever take another round with it? Well, there are a couple of reasons, but one reason to not do this, because as we'll see in this battle, this round will just do fine. And that's the pleasure of the German tank tech tree. Gun-wise, you don't really need any sort of ammunition upgrades. They are nice to have, but you don't really need them. I usually always take a few rounds of each ammunition type, and so let's go through the statistics of the shells. So the Panzergranate 3943, great muzzle velocity of 1000 meters per second and 237 millimeters of penetration, and at 1000 meters it's still above 200, quite comfortably so. It also has a bursting charge of nearly 109 grams of TNT equivalent. So once you penetrate an enemy tank and you hit the crew compartment, you got an insta one-shot kill. The second shell type is the stock HE round, the Sprenggranate 43, not really that useful in my opinion, maybe against the occasional potato truck when you are stock grinding, but once you have upgraded, there is the Hohlladungsgranate 39 heat round, 600 meters per second muzzle velocity, 110 millimeters of penetration at any range, and you know, it's heat penetration, so 55 millimeters at 60 degrees angles of attack. It initiates quite comfortably and reliable hull break on some lightly armored light tanks, or you know, your amphibious tanks, whatever you can hit with them. And for good measure, you also have the Panzergranate 4043 APCR round, 279 millimeters of penetration and 1130 meters per second muzzle velocity. First customer of the day was the M41 Walker Bulldog, and the next thing is that, yeah, the APCR. A lot of people make the mistake of coming from World of Tanks and thinking, oh yes, APCR, that's a premium round, here I can upgrade it, and then they are quite shocked how badly it actually does. APCR, on paper, in theory, is great. You have a higher muzzle velocity and higher raw penetration. And there are guns and situations where this shell is actually useful. However, because you have such high penetration with the standard round, you don't need it. And also you have worse post-penetration damage effect. It's unreliable in my opinion. And the third effect is it's pretty bad versus angled armor. In fact, significantly less so in my opinion than the Panzergranate 3943. And also bursting charge is really nice if you make those juicy cupola shots. Beautiful. Second custom of the day here was taken out. So the thing is that he has taken a defensive cover position. It's very great because you have hard cover, and he uses the fact that the Waffenträger has a turret mounted in the back of the vehicle. So he still has the transmission and the driver alive when he gets shot. If he gets tracked, he still can angle around the corner, if you know what I mean. And yeah, there is not the ammunition mounted in the back of the vehicle, just the fuel tank, so it's acceptable to catch fire for that, for your troubles, right, instead of just detonating outright or being immobile. So his team is now struggling around A. As I said, this tank is not very good for offensive operations, but for defense operations, for this tactical overwatch for the rest of your team, long range engagements, that is what the tank is made for. And again, he looks out, he's very careful, rightfully so, again the armor is trashed, and then he saw the Chaffee and a beautiful turret hit, but sadly the shell detonated so that the gun breech absorbed the rest of the shrapnels, so that the two guys in the front of the vehicle are actually still alive. The Chaffee therefore also could retreat in time and is nowhere to be seen. Now his team has actually managed to contest A successfully and be successful with this capturing right now. There the Centurion Mark 1 has some other target in sight, but then he catches a long 88 to the face, and that is his third kill. Nicely done, Borghoff. And again, artillery strikes are dropping on him. There is not all that much information obtainable in the replay rather than to a raw recording. And also, again, very often I don't know what the player really thinks in his situation making or in his action making. Even I sometimes, when I watch a battle that I recorded a few months ago, I don't quite know what I thought at this precise moment. And we are all wiser in hindsight, right? So here he tries to now push with his team, but he's careful at every corner. The Panther's looking that way, and we can see there is a Hellcat. The Hellcat was waiting for the Panther coming around the other side, and then he hull breaks him by hitting the gun breech. Really nice, 4th kill. Bit lucky there, because if the Hellcat would have been awake and would have stared in this direction, it would have been not in Borghoff's favor. So again, the tank is very slow. In theory, I have a lot of time to talk about all sorts of things, but here this is a situation that I don't want to see. Look at the distribution of his teammates across the map. But before we have a look at this kill on this Challenger. Beautiful turret shot. He really has this high tier syndrome of aiming for the gun, hasn't he? And then the T-25 is not visible. Again, the markers show more, and again, in hindsight, we're all smarter. Okay, he moves forwards. And then, this time, there is no escape for this Jeffy. Beautiful 6th kill. So that's the ace +1. But he knows that there is a lot of trouble incoming. Aircraft are flying overhead, the tank has no top armor for the turret crew. His team tries his best, but they are also grinded down. He observes the usual spots and tries to get into the next hard cover situation. Now, the one remaining heavy tank of his team that has survived the onslaught at A is now pushing even further. And some tanks are going for B, but it was not to be. So let's see if he can help out his teammates. Aircraft coming in again. Now, the funny thing is, he tried to shoot here the aircraft. The gun has actually 45 degrees of gun elevation and 8 degrees of gun depression. But the elevation speed is only 4 degrees per second. So here the P-51 is really slow and gets slaughtered here. Really nice by an Ostwind 2. Then the Super Pershing tries to kill him with the heavy machine guns, and yes, this tank's armor isn't all that great, but at that range it's not that weak. So good luck right there. Wyvern's coming in again, and he has crashed. Oh, there is again a Walker Bulldog. Well, there was one. Beautiful kill again. Shooting through the side of the turret ring. 7th kill. And then there is another customer. It's a Comet 1. And again, a turret penetration. Taking out the commander and the gunner. He tries his luck, and this is the Comet's undoing in War Thunder. This extremely bad reverse speed. And there he actually doesn't manage to get through the cupola, and so the Comet disappears successfully in the smoke. Again, we have the marker, he didn't have it. Again, this is tank realistic battle. The team is not able to get B, which is a shame. The tickets are bleeding down. What can you do in this situation? He really tries to kill here this Comet. But as you can see, reverse speed only 6.5 kilometers per hour. That's not really all that great. Horsepower to ton ratio below 10. That's god awful. And I would stop here if the smoke begins to dissipate. He doesn't. And there he saw another customer of the day. Now the enemy team tries to overrun him. His last ally on this flank has died. He has no more allies around him. Only one lonely tank at B. The rest has left the game, or is dead, or doesn't have spawn points. That's not looking good. He tries to turn around and he tries to surprise the flankers when they try to come. Oh, there he spotted another tank, but he knows that he can't do anything about him. And it seems like he's listening around and he is hearing this guy in the SPA. 8th kill. So this is why it's so important not to listen to Sabaton. And there is the next customer of the day. He sees him, tries third person aim, and a beautiful 9th kill. So he makes here great use of game mechanics, of situational awareness, of preparing, positioning. It's so great. And again, there is then also this M4A1, 10th kill, double ace. Beautiful, just simply beautiful. And now the one remaining tank of his team that was at B actually managed to decap. And now C is also decapped. So now the enemy teams are bleeding down. But it's really close. His team doesn't have all that many points remaining. And we can see on the minimap, one enemy tank is already trying to spawn camp. He is now visible to everybody on the minimap because he has entered the red zone. So he's now officially the last tank on the front line in a defensive tank. There is one allied aircraft, there are 1, 2, probably 3 allied players left alive. And now he tries to defend A. That's the best that he can do. It's of course the obvious target for the next enemy push. Somebody wants to get a capture, somebody wants to stop the capture bleeding. Doesn't really matter. He really has to be careful with those aircraft, but again, not that much that he can do. He's slow, he's open top, the rest of the armor isn't that great. And again, he's looking for the obvious spots. Third person seeking, looking around, using the C key a lot, or just simply trying to rotate the turret. The fully upgraded turret rotation speed, including an ace crew, is 14 degrees per second. That's not really all that great. Now he tries to obtain a position behind the capture zone. And just to rest for a moment. 10 kills and 1 assist. And it's close. Next target, next customer of the day. A beautiful hull break again. Aiming for the engine. Not making the mistake of aiming for the turret, but for the engine. Beautiful kill. So now C is contested and you can see the rest of his team. One is coming from the right spawn, one from the left spawn. They both try to go for separate spawns, but there are so many enemy tanks and planes left. It is an uphill battle. And now the points are equal again, or the caps are equal. So the ticket bleed from the enemy team has stopped. The ticket bleed has stopped. What to do right now in a slow tank? You only can defend that one point your team has, right? And you can only hope that the enemy team is slow at getting to B. Again, he's looking for the obvious spots. He sees here a Jumbo Sherman and a beautiful kill straight through the side. Well done. 12 kill. The dozen kills are full. This is tense. This is tense, especially if you are in this situation, because you want to win, but you also want to survive. And it's so risky because you don't have all that many options. Oh, there is a Jumbo Sherman, and he actually hits the cover of the transmission, and there the shell for the first time bounces off and does not penetrate. But the second shot, well aimed, nearly around the corner of the house, gives him his 13th kill. But the tickets are so close, and there is nothing that he can do. Sadly, that's the end. 13 kills, perfectly played, good repositioning, good battle. Let's have a look at the results, shall we? And this is a little bit of a sad result screen, because he got the Survivor Award, which I again value highly, then the Heavy Metal Hero for 13 kills and 1 assist, 55,000 Silver Lions and 3,300 research points on a loss on a standard account. that's just heartbreaking, right? And so I thought that this is a good showcase of, yeah, that's a bitter defeat if I have ever seen one. And I just realized that Borghoff has not yet gotten the Hochladungsgranate 39, so what I spoke about earlier was not completely 100% right. I hope that you take this shell into battle, and I hope that you know the value that you get out of the shell once in a while. So there we can see the upgrade status of the vehicle. It was more or less 3/4 upgraded, but he is still missing the transmission, the engine, and the APCR round. The APCR is not really that important. If I have the transmission and the engine left to research, always go for the engine, because it gives you twice the amount of horsepower that the transmission gives you. And so I think that's it for me today. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a like, give it a subscribe if you want to see more. Again, thank you, Borghoff, for sending me this replay. It was nice to watch. I enjoyed it, and I hope that the rest of the community did it as well. And as usual, we will see each other on the ways, in the skies, and on the battlefields of War Thunder.